This is the Bat Pod.
Grab your bat microphone, it's time to start the show.
Welcome to the Bat Pod, a Batman comic book discussion podcast. On today's show, we're going to be discussing Robin, Year 1, Number 1, Batman Huntress, Cry for Blood, Number 2, and Vengeance of Bane, Number 1.
Grab your headphones, listen up, you know you love it. Drop the facade. Like the Dark Knight detective, they've got some perspective. They're a pure crime-fighting collective. It's the Bat Pod.
Welcome to episode 138. My name is Bill Beer, and joining me tonight, the boy wonder of the Bat Pod, J. David Weeder.
I'm here in my pixie boots and ready to go.
Okay. Some things we don't really need to know. I mean, maybe that's where you say TMI. You know what I'm saying?
There are people that want to know, I assume.
Okay.
Inquiring minds want to know.
There you go. So, good episode tonight. We're going to start a new 4-issue mini, Robin Year 1, which is your pick.
Mm-hmm.
Continue on with Batman Huntress, Cry for Blood, and then we get into a little book that I haven't read for some time called Vengeance of Bane in our walk through Knightfall. But first, we were discussing what to talk about this week, and you had brought up a topic for this week, topic idea, and I'm going to let you go first. You had said, what is your favorite location of Gotham City? So I'll let you go first.
I kind of went back and forth between a couple, but really, I think the Iceberg Lounge is really cool. And I always picture it from Arkham City with a giant shark tank and everything. So I just like that Penguin has a themed bar that he has a legit, in air quotes, business. And I just love the theme of it. Just a cool place that, no pun intended, I would hang out.
No, absolutely. That is a great, I love seeing that as a place in Gotham that has stuck, over the years. Mm-hmm. Something that we got Arkham, we got different locations in, Robinson Park, the Narrows in different places. And I like that we have some places that have stuck, like the Iceberg Lounge. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say Arkham Asylum. Like, if I had to pick something that I wanted to see in a movie, I think the two things that I want to see the way it is in the comics is, number one, the Iceberg Lounge, and number two, well, in any order, is Arkham Asylum, the way we see it in the comics, and not necessarily, what we've gotten so far.
Yeah, and I will give you that, because I was watching Batman Forever, which, A, that movie's weird. Things just happen for no reason. Mm-hmm. But B, you see Arkham Asylum for a moment, it's so over the top, and Batman and Robin kind of carries that to the next level. But I would love to see, the closest we got was the video game, Arkham Asylum. I would love to see something like that, the sort of gothic architecture, or something that looks like it came from that graphic novel on the screen. And we haven't gotten that yet. And
we've gotten places that just look like a prison. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like I think it should look. Yeah. How they have these rogues in Gotham, and they're different than your average, mental patients.
Yeah, they're the whole other breed.
Yeah. So yeah, there are a lot of places in Gotham. I mean, I don't know if that would be a good place to visit. I mean, I don't know if you want to go hang out with the family there at the Iceberg Lounge.
No.
Yeah, it might not be the entertainment you're looking for, type of thing.
I just had an image of a school field trip going through Arkham Asylum, and I can't stop laughing at it.
I remember when I used to do Stump the Co-host on the show, and one of the prizes was, you won a free tour of Arkham Asylum and an overnight stay. Yeah, I don't think you want either of those. You might, but you might want to tell somebody where you're going so they can come and try to find you if you just disappear.
Swallow an air tag just in case.
Right. It would not hurt. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to head to the books.
Come on, Robin. To the Batcave. We haven't one moment to lose.
Our first book tonight is Robin, Year 1, Number 1. Your cover date is October of 2000. Your writer, Chuck Dixon and Scott Beatty. Penciler, Javier Pulido. Your inker is Robert Capanella. Colorist Lee Loundridge. Letterer Sean Conant. And editor Dennis O'Neil. And we get a cover here, and it's just a yellow background. This is Robin Year One in the middle of the top, and you got Robin up front, got the Mad Hatter, and you got Batman up at the top, and some of the girls that were kidnapped in the book. What did you think of this cover?
I love this cover. I love Robin being up front. It has a sense of fun to it. Not funny, but fun.
Yeah, he sort of has a little smirk on his face as he covers up the cape to hide part of his lower face, but it's a pretty cool cover. I like it. It's sharp. In digital, unfortunately, it doesn't blow up to be one page.
Oh, really?
On the DC app. Yeah, it's showing the back cover too as 2 pages. It's not blown unless I zoom in and I can see it, as one cover, but it's weird because it's not a connected cover.
No, and I'd forgotten about the back cover. So that's a good point. It doesn't have anything. They're not a wraparound.
No, it's not a wraparound. So that's kind of odd how they did it that way, because you don't really, the back cover, I mean, it does have some artwork on it and it says, a gist of what you're getting, but it's nothing that should be connected. So
weird.
So in this issue, after some investigation, Two-Face has found out that Batman now has a teenage sidekick. Bruce Wayne has taken young Dick Grayson under his wing as Robin the Boy Wonder. Alfred Pennyworth is skeptical of Dick becoming Batman's sidekick, but he cannot deny the positive influence the boy has on Bruce. After attending a dinner party, Batman and Robin meet Captain James Gordon, who informs them about a few kidnappings taking place. Behind the kidnappings is actually the Mad Hatter, who has been enticing teenage girls with free headsets. His hack transmits a broadcast signal to the headsets and enables him to hypnotize his captives. His plan is to sell the captive girls to General Lissimo Singh Ma Lee. When one of the kidnapped victims turns out to be a girl from Robin's school, the Boy Wonder attempts to solve the case on his own. After school, Dick watches how the Mad Hatter kidnaps another girl. Because Bruce is attending another party at night, this time on the yacht of General Lissimo, Robin decides to stop the villain on his own. With a little support by Alfred, Dick finds out that the Mad Hatter is delivering the girls to General Lissimo on his yacht. Robin enters the yacht, fights through a horde of goons, rescues the girls, exposes Mad Hatter's plot. The general uses his diplomatic immunity to get away. Bruce is first angry with Alfred for letting Dick go at the Mad Hatter alone, but is still proud of Dick for his accomplishments. So, Robin, Year One, number 1, it's your pick. Tell us, why'd you pick this book?
It's a delight. It's fun, it's positive, and there's dark things happening, but with Robin being the focus and Alfred kind of seeing this, it's mitigated. It's a tight story. It's a ton of fun. The art is fantastic.
It is fantastic. It's I don't know why, but I believe I've read this. I don't think I've read it since it came out, because I really had no memory of what went on in this book. I really like how, it's narrated by Alfred. Like a handwritten narration. Like he's taking doing a diary or whatever, what's going on with Dick and that sort of thing, and his feelings and that sort of thing. But Robin is smiling and in a good mood, and and there's this part at the beginning where he's in the Batcave and he's using batarangs and juggling them, and Alfred's asking him about, is he happy and that sort of thing. And he gets real serious and he says, Master Richard, always bear in mind that this is his crusade and not be your life as well. And he's like, I know, but somebody's got to help him, and it might as well be me.
Well, this is what Robin was designed for. It's a thrill. If a kid is seeing this, it's amazing. It's beyond belief. And for Batman, it's just, it's Tuesday.
And did you notice that Dick is wearing a Charlie Brown sweater?
Yes.
I'm just picking that up. I mean, I saw it, but
It's diamonds, but it's definitely, it's very much Charlie Brown, and it looks like something Burt Ward would have worn, too.
yeah, I agree that there's a lot of fun with this book, with the artwork, and the artwork really makes the story flow really well. I mean, from the way the Mad Hatter looks to the kidnapped girls, they all look identical. He kidnaps these girls because he's going to sell them to the general. And they're like young girls, and they're all dressed the same, and not all. He I guess he likes blondes because they all have blonde hair, even though you see, one of the girls being kidnapped and she isn't necessarily blonde.
Right, and that's the thing I'm saying, is that there's this dark vein, but it doesn't tap into it enough to make you uncomfortable. Where something like Batman Earth 1 went out of its way to do so.
Yes. No, this could be, if I tell you, hey, we got a story here, and it's about teenage girls being kidnapped and sold, you're like, I don't know if I want to see that. That could be really bad, but you never get the feeling that, they're kidnapped, but you never get the feeling that it's something other than that.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah, it could have went in. And this is early 2000s, so...
And I did forget, there was a predecessor to this, because this is kind of a 5-issue situation. Mm-hmm. Because there's a Batman Chronicles The Gauntlet one-shot.
Oh, yes.
And it leads directly into this. And I'd forgotten to put it on our list, because I forgot it connected that way.
An episode before you started, or maybe 2 episodes, me and Paul Hicks talked about that episode.
Oh, sweet.
That issue.
That's right.
Yeah, we talked about that issue. That was a really good issue.
Yeah.
So that leads into this.
Yep, directly, yeah.
That's very cool. You see, Robin loves being Robin.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's doing all the things he did when he was at the circus, swinging through the air, jumping and doing flips and that sort of thing. So I can imagine how that would be a lot of fun. And very familiar. Right.
That's what I was thinking is, this is something he did at the circus, and he did it without a net. So the danger aspect is sort of, I don't know where Dick Grayson puts it, like somewhere in his psyche, but he knows how to mitigate that fear.
When he engages these different thugs and that sort of thing, when he's in the pool hall, and, he jumps on the table and he's like, it's my turn, right? And he grabs a couple balls and starts knocking heads with it, and he's the type of hero here that likes to talk to the guys as he's beating them up. It's a lot of fun. And it's not like, it reminds me a little of how Spider-Man, but Spider-Man goes way over the top. This is just enough to make it entertaining.
Right. I think that's one of the better aspects of the character, and something that's retained with, especially with Chuck Dixon's Nightwing. Is that he does the banter, but he also can turn it off and on. Yeah,
and he can get serious. I like the scene where they're sitting at a table, and it's one of these long tables, like from Batman '89. Him and Vicky Vale were sitting at this long table at one end, and one was the other. Well, Dick and Bruce are sitting right next to each other.
I don't think I've ever been in this room before.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's an intentional homage or just kind of part of the package.
I don't know. It's quite interesting. And then you have Dick. He wants to know what's being said in the principal's office, the assistant principal's office. And they got that little window of the door, and he kind of climbs up and sticks his nose above the window so he can listen in. And when they come out, he's just sitting there like, hey, how you doing?
Yep.
But he basically goes on his own, follows the clues, figures out how these girls are being taken, follows the van, and figures this whole thing out. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. Bruce has this thing for teenage sidekicks, and it's a dangerous thing. There's like 3 times in here where Robin gets shot at.
Yes.
And if you're not like highly trained, you could have a dead sidekick.
But he's got a backup. No, it's something where, that's why Batman takes his training seriously, and he's hard on Dick a lot, because it's keeping him alive.
Yeah.
Here, I was so relieved he didn't go that direction, that we had a positive ending to the issue.
Oh, yeah. I like that. Because at first, he got the Mad Hatter, and the general sort of gets off because he says he has diplomatic immunity. And when Dick is talking to Bruce here at the end, you could tell that he was not too happy with him.
No.
And then he goes home and talks to Alfred. And I guess Alfred's standing outside as he arrives, and they're talking. And Alfred basically takes the blame for it. He says, "I take the blame, sir, for thwarting an evil scheme, breaking up a kidnapping ring, and rescuing some innocent children from God knows what. Mm-hmm. Feel free to heap your scorn upon me, sir."
And I hear Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. from Batman the Animated Series when that speech comes up.
Yeah, that was a good one. And then he goes right in there, and Dick's like, "This is the part where you yell at me." And he's like, no, as he's looking pictures of, the girls that have been rescued on like the news and that sort of thing. And he says, "Well done. I couldn't have done better myself." He says, "I'm proud of you, Robin."
I like that. Because it could have easily just been one of those, yes, Bruce is, giving him a hard time. And this just wasn't the instance where it needed to happen. And Bruce knew it.
And one thing I mentioned, in the intro, but didn't, because we only saw one panel with him, basically, is Two-Face is going to be coming up in future issues, which is kind of exciting. That should be a lot of fun. Get the Mad Hatter mostly here, but...
And that's kind of continuing off of the Gauntlet.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, final thoughts here?
Until I sat down, I didn't have a way to define why the art is so good, but really the art is a perfect combination of David Mazzucchelli and Darwin Cook. It works so well with Dixon.
Yes, you're right on that one. I was trying to think of what this art looked like, how to describe it, because it looks very familiar, but the Darwin Cook aspect of it is very true. It does have that throwback look to it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I like this a lot. This was a lot of fun. So, okay, we're going to take a quick break here and go to this podcast promo.
Hey everybody, Michael Bailey here with a trailer announcing the return of It All Comes Back to Superman. Well, sort of the return of It All Comes Back to Superman. Desperate to stay relevant and chase those sweet, sweet podcasting dollars, I've decided that since all of the shows on the Fortress of Baileytude Podcasting Network are moving to a new hosting platform, that I would start It All Comes Back to Superman over with a new number one in name. So really, this is a trailer for the sort of new, pretty much the same as before,
It All Comes Back to Superman Series 2.
It All Comes Back to Superman Series 2 will be... It's gonna be... Oh, God. Are you hearing this music that's playing right now? In all honesty, I chose it because I thought it had a good trailer feel. But the more I'm sitting here listening to it, the more it sounds like something... You know what it sounds like? It sounds like something you would hear in the background of a motivational video your job made you watch that is full of corporate jargon and buzzwords and useless affirmations trying to convince you that working there is some freaking higher calling. Or, you know what else it sounds like? It sounds like it would be behind an ad on YouTube that is trying to sell you something that is supposedly life-altering, but in reality is at best useless, and at worst dangerous, and probably should be illegal. Yeah, you know what? I'm done with this music. Yeah, it's over. I'm just gonna go with the music I've licensed for the show. I should have just done that from the beginning. There. That's better. Anyway, It All Comes Back to Superman Series 2 will be pretty much like the first series, just with a convenient new numbering system. Episodes will be erratic at first, because it's me, but hopefully by the end of 2024 they should be released on a regular basis. Some episodes will be one-and-dones. Some will be part of rolling series with names like The Earth 2 Superman Files, and Close Maketh the Villain, the superpowered makeovers of Lex Luthor and Brainiac. There might even be holiday specials every once in a while, as well as episodes from the previous feed making their way over to the new one, just to kind of freshen them up a bit. No matter the subject, movies, comics, action figures, prose, the show will be all about my love and fandom for the greatest fictional character ever created.
It all comes back to Superman Series 2.
Part of the Fortress of Baileytude podcasting network. Available through Libsyn on Apple Podcast, Spotify, and other podcatching platforms. Show notes and other bits and bobs will still be available on posts over at www.fortressofbaileytude.com.
And we are back to continue our look at Batman Huntress Cry for Blood with issue number 2. We got a cover of Batman leaning against a chimney, pulling out a crossbow bolt from his side as he's bleeding. What'd you think of this cover, Bill?
Oh, I really like this cover. It's like, he's looking and grimacing to his side, kind of being held up by a chimney on a roof, and he has that crossbow bolt in his hand, and it's like, okay, what just happened?
Right.
And you can see to the side there that some of the crossbow bolts hit the chimney.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's not a lot to the cover. I mean, you got a black background, but I like this a lot.
I think the black backgrounds actually help. It makes this kind of a very focused set of covers. And yeah, I like it as well. And I like the brickwork on the chimney is really nice line work. Mm-hmm. If you look to the side, it's just shadow work. And
oh, yeah, the shadow. I like the shadows a lot. And the way these covers are, they have this left stripe that has like the cry for blood and your writer and your artist and that sort of thing. And then the rest of it is the cover. But the whole thing has like this black background with a blue, like a DC blue.
And see, in my reprint, because it's the Birds of Prey collected edition. It's just the image. There's no trade dress at all. So
okay.
I get the full image, and I think even without all of the decoration, it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But inside we have the writer Greg Rucka, artist Rick Burkett, letters by Clem Robbins, and colors by Tatiana Wood. Huntress knows the faceless guy waiting for her on the road as the question. The man implies that Helena is still struggling with her double identity. The next day at work, Helena thinks about her potentially being exposed as the Huntress by Batman. Both the Mafia as well as the GCPD would come after her immediately. At the same time, Nightwing is with Oracle and they talk about Helena being guilty of murdering Claudio Panessa. Nightwing does not believe she did it. Oracle is not convinced. Oracle also dislikes Huntress. Nightwing leaves and visits Helena at her apartment. Nightwing offers her his help, but she angrily refuses because she has not forgotten how she was treated by the Batman family, that's in air quotes by the way, during No Man's Land. After Nightwing is gone, Helena suits up to search for a female reporter named Karen Fraser, who recently wrote a negative article about the Huntress. Helena suspects that Fraser got paid by the mob of Gotham City, but she only finds the reporter dead in her apartment, and after fleeing to the rooftop, Huntress runs right into Batman and Nightwing. Batman wants her to come with him as the police are already on the scene. Huntress misunderstands his intentions and tries to flee, but when Batman throws something at her, Huntress mistakenly fires her crossbow. The bolt is about to hit Nightwing, but Batman shoves him out of the way and gets hit himself. Furiously, Nightwing attacks Huntress, who reacts by jumping off the roof into the river nearby. This is where the Question fishes Huntress out of the water, but when she also refuses his help, he knocks her out. And so we end with another cliffhanger. So this was your pick, Bill. What'd you think of this issue?
I really like this issue. This was a strong second entry in this. And in the first issue, we really got the background about Huntress and that sort of thing. And here, when we jump in this book, I really feel like we're getting to know the Huntress pretty well and her thoughts and motivations and that sort of thing. Because we get here, she's thinking about Batman and she's thinking like, I killed him. Batman thinks I killed him. I didn't. Hating and killing somebody are two different things. And she's just thinking about, what if he turns her in? If he turns her in, the cops aren't going to be able to protect her because the family's going to come after her, and it's going to be, as the title, a cry for blood or blood.
Blood calls to blood.
Yeah. I like that. What did you think of that scene?
It made me really think about how Batman's really got her in a corner. I mean, he can end it all whenever he wants. And there's a nice subtlety to that he doesn't end it. And that's something that kind of, if you've ever read Morrison's JLA and Grant, in that area where Mark Waid was also doing it, Batman kind of vouches for her for a while on the JLA. So I like that there is a subtle belief in her, but it's not something where he can give her free reign. The trust isn't there because she's an outsider. But he holds all the cards in all reality.
He does, and at this point we're talking about a Batman that isn't. He's not super trusting of outsiders.
Right.
He has this family, and to get inside the family is not the easiest. And the other thing I liked in this book, I like this conversation between Dick and Barbara. Because you can hear a little bit of her jealousy because of Dick and the past relationship, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah, that's a loose definition.
And Huntress, she sounds like she's a little jealous of that. So,
well, there's a great debate about Dick Grayson as far as who his main love is. If it's Starfire, if it's Barbara,
right?
And Helena's not. Helena was at best, I'll be polite and say, friends with benefits.
Right. Me and Sean Ross had this discussion many times about who's Dick's greatest love, and he was always the side on Starfire, and I was always on the side of Barbara. So
unfortunately for our listeners, we won't be arguing because I also think Barbara, especially in the current run
of the
Nightwing.
right way.
Yeah. And Sean's firing us an email right now, firing it off.
And these cousins, were like oogling their cousin and say that girl's very easy on the eyes, and the father takes the newspaper and just whops him in the head.
Well, are they blood cousins or are they cousins by mafia?
I guess they're mafia.
Okay, but still,
I guess whatever you call that mafia family type of thing. I don't know how that works.
Probably better that way if you don't.
Right. And we get Dick. He goes to have a talk with Helena. And it doesn't go that great. I mean, he asked if he could come in, but she is very skeptical of him coming to have a conversation.
Well, what exactly how did they break ties in No Man's Land? Because I don't think I've read that all the way through.
I don't honestly remember.
Okay, so it's not just me.
Right, yeah. I don't honestly remember. It's been a while since I've read it, so I do know that the new Batgirl came along, but I don't honestly remember. There's so many storylines in that. I mean, it's like one of the biggest crossovers there's ever been.
Enough that it has its own podcast.
Yes. And it's like 120 episodes once he gets through everything. That's a lot of chapters.
Yeah. Godspeed. You're doing the Lord's work.
Yeah. So she basically kicks him out. You have the question that's involved in this. I don't think she really wants him involved in this, but he is involved himself. He's just watching on a rooftop here, which is a little creepy.
Yeah. How long has he been there? Why is he?
Yeah.
What is he also watching, I guess? What's that implication? Yeah, and I don't know that I want the question involved at this point.
But I like this scene where, she gets basically caught by Batman and Nightwing fleeing the scene of another murder and is questioned on a rooftop. And, Batman wants her to come with him.
Mm-hmm. And I think his intentions are good, but...
Yeah. He just wants to control the situation. And she wants none of that. She actually tries to escape. And as you said, she falls down, her crossbow accidentally goes off. Dick swerves out of the way, but it hits Batman, like on the cover.
Mm-hmm. It just keeps getting worse. Like it just keeps out of the frying pan into the fire.
Because she's like, it's an accident. You got to believe me. And Dick's like, you hurt him.
Yeah, Dick's not happy.
And she does escape. She jumps in the reservoir or whatever you want to call it. And the question is there, which the question has very questionable motives here. I know he's trying to help her, but he like takes her out of the water. You don't have a single friend left in this town. He says, I got someone I want you to meet. And she's like, I'm not going anywhere with you. I can still fight. And then he's like, have it your way. And he kicks her in the face. And that ends the part 2. So
I forget how good Greg Rucka really is. I mean, I've not read a bad story from him.
No, I'm really enjoying this a lot. It's a lot of fun. And it's as I said, it's mostly about the Huntress. It has Batman on it, and he shows up here, but this is a Huntress mini completely.
Yeah. Batman's there his name is on the cover to sell the book, and he's part of the guest appearance cast.
Yeah.
But this is very much a Helena's book, and I'm here for it. And Rucka's really good with female protagonists because his Wonder Woman run is phenomenal. If you haven't read it, please do. And I think this is the right character for him.
Yes.
And I'm really enjoying this. I'm really glad you brought this one to the table.
Very good. I'm happy to hear that, because at first you hadn't read this. So she was like, "Oh, what is he getting me to read?" And then, so I'm glad that you've enjoyed this. So, okay. Well, we're going to go ahead, and then we're going to head to our walk through Knightfall.
All set, Batman. Come on, Penguin. Time to rip off your false feathers.
Okay, your final book tonight is Vengeance of Bane, #1. Cover date is January 1993. Your writer, Chuck Dixon. Penciler, Graham Nolan. Inker, Eduardo Burrito. Colorist, Adrian Roy. Letterer, Bill Oakley. And editor, Denny O'Neil. And we get a cover here, and you got Bane on the cover. Looks like he's holding some security guards he had just taken out, or prison guards, with Batman in the background with a grimace on his face. What did you think of this cover?
It's all right. I've never liked this cover a lot. Never loved it, I should say. I like it. Mm-hmm. I think it's just I don't like the color palette. I don't like Batman's face.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a busted lip or something.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying, oh, this is terrible, but it didn't do it for me.
I don't think it's too bad, but I see what you're saying. So in this issue, on the island of Santa Presca, a group of revolutionaries conducted a failed coup against a reigning government. Those that survived the 3-day massacre were arrested and detained at a prison facility known as Pentadora. One of the prisoners was a woman with child. Her husband was one of the many killed during the bloody campaign. In accordance to centuries-old law, the punishment of the father must be carried out by the son. When the boy was 6 years old, his mother died from exhaustion and despair, and the prison guards threw her corpse in a shark-infested waters, completely alone. And after an incident, the warden had him placed in solitary confinement for 10 years. The inhumane treatment only served to strengthen him even more. When he emerged, his reputation had become the stuff of legend. He became now known as Bane. Years later, a scientific research team used the prison in which to conduct their experiments. They developed a steroid compound codenamed Venom and tested the drug on many prisoners. However, none of the men had been put through the Venom process or were strong enough to survive the procedure. The warden selected Bane as the science team's next volunteer. Bane's physical hardness and unbreakable resolve enabled him to survive the process. The Venom drug increased his overall muscle mass, endurance, and strength enormously. At this point, Bane decided to leave Pentadora forever. He faked his own death, knowing that the prison guards would cast his body to the water below that was shark-infested, just as they'd done with his mother years before. When his body hit the water, Bane revived himself and took the command of an army helicopter. Gathering his friends Zombie, Bird, and Trog, he killed the warden by throwing him into the water to the sharks below and left the island of Santa Presca. Bird tells Bane about his hometown in Gotham Bane becomes interested when he hears the legend of Gotham's Batman. He decides in order to prove that he is superior to all men, he must find and destroy this Batman. First, however, he helps Bird gets revenge on one of his old adversaries, a gangster named Jimmy No-Nose. After slaughtering Jimmy, Bane makes his presence known to the leaders of the Gotham underworld by killing members of the Macklin crime family. This act draws the attention of Batman. Bane sizes up Batman and decides he's not ready to fight him. He first wants to understand his foe before taking action. He warns Batman he will come for him soon as our issue ends. So, we started this off with the Azrael book, the 4-issue series that leads into, and by the end of that, when we were like on the ending, we jump into this and we get an introduction of a new character, at the time at least. And what did you think of this issue overall?
It was phenomenal. It was the opposite of Sword of Azrael, in that this took, what, you said 64 pages?
Yes.
Sword of Azrael was about 100 pages across 4 issues. And I felt like it kind of gave me a little bit, but mostly was padding. And it didn't necessarily present a character I'm like, okay, I got to see this guy come back. This was the opposite. There was 64 pages. I don't feel like there was any padding. It was jam-packed, not overstuffed, but it gave me a Bane in which I'm like, I got to see what this guy's going to do. So it's the polar opposite of Sword of Azrael for me. What about you?
And no, I really enjoyed this. And you get your introduction to Bane here, and we get a character that we see from the ground floor up.
Mm-hmm.
We get a lot of background on him. We see what he goes through in this prison. And, when he meets Batman in here, we have an idea who Bane is, just from what he's done at this prison, what he's been through. You can imagine a boy, his mother dies, and all they do is just throw her body to be eaten by the sharks.
That was gruesome.
And the warden tells the boy, well, you're not going to be, sequestered, from everybody. You're going into general population with everybody. And this is really a hardened prison in a foreign country that has the worst of the worst.
Yep, it's not playing. And that in and of itself, that environment immediately tells you a lot about Bane. That he's still standing, thriving by the end of this issue is terrifying.
And he's thrown into this pit. And when we're talking about a pit, it doesn't sound like bringing him food and water and that sort of thing. This pit fills up with water every day.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he has to, he catches fish for his food. There's rats swimming in this water.
Crabs. Not the bad crabs. They're vicious.
Yeah.
Crustacean.
Yeah. 10 years. 10 years. It's not like he has books in there to read. What does that do to a person?
Yeah, and for him, he went into his own mind. I don't know that I would make it that far.
No, I don't think so. No, this was a lot of fun. And he even has, a dream. And in this dream, as he's stuck in here, he looks like he's fighting a bat.
Mm-hmm.
A life-size bat. Like he almost has a vision of what's to come.
And this predated Batman Forever, so it didn't predate Dark Knight Returns and Year One. So I feel like there's a nice connection and callback to those. As long as somebody didn't just take it and run with it and say there's some sort of connected demon or whatever's going on in the current books.
Yeah. So no, this was a very enjoyable, and it'll be fun to see the ride. I always like this, when he imagines this Batman, he sees this Batman with claws and teeth hoarding over the city, and he becomes like obsessed with this Batman of what he thinks this Batman is, not what he actually is.
Kind of like he's trying to find the ultimate predator, because he's killed fish. He hasn't killed sharks yet, but by the time we get out of the prison, he has. He's just looking for the...
he takes a shark and just rips.
Yeah.
Well, he did take the venom with him, so And when they did these scientific experiments, they put the implants in his head, and all he has to do is just hook up these tubes to the implants in his head to power up. And, any other villain, I think they would have, gone to Gotham, seen Batman, and just try to have a fight right there. But Bane has some intelligence to him.
Yeah, and this is something where he sees Batman, and Batman doesn't make sense in the context of a man who's grown up in prison. Batman doesn't kill. Batman is just. Where in prison, it's kill or be killed.
Did you notice the one scene there where he's taking out the mobsters, Bane that is, and they look like the Three Stooges?
Yes, I noticed that. I was going to point that out. And then there's a moment where Harvey hides the Batarang. They're like, well, Batman did it. He finally snapped, and Harvey's like, no, he didn't. And then subtly takes the Batarang. I liked that. That says a lot about Harvey.
Oh, yeah. Well, he knows.
Yeah.
And at the end here, he's got a fire in his eye, and he says, the Batman is Gotham City. I will watch him, study him, and when I know him and why he does not kill, I will know his city, and then Gotham will be mine. I think that's the biggest thing he's fascinated with is why he doesn't kill. Because he can't understand, because killing has been so easy for him. And it's like, why can't this creature not kill?
It's just something he cannot process. And again, it's just because he was in an environment where it was kill or be killed. That was just the way things went.
Right.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I went back and reread all 64 pages of it just because I enjoyed it and I wanted to get a better grip on it.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder, because this one also slid under my radar in 92? And I do wonder if people were like, why is this here? What's going to happen with this Bane guy? Because it was put out without any... You didn't know at that point when this was published that Knightfall was coming yet. It was shortly after this where the rumors started.
No, the only thing that you got, and I can't remember if it was in there or not, occasionally there would be like once a month this newspaper would come out. It's called Comic Shop News. I don't know if you remember that. Yep. Occasionally they would put articles in there about things that were coming out. But this was pre-internet, so you didn't... The only thing you got is you go in the comic shop if the guy, the manager at the shop would say, hey, there's a good story with Batman coming up or this sort of thing, or you may want to pick this up, but you didn't really know what was coming.
Sometime we had Wizard. You had Comic Shop News.
Oh, yeah,
and you had
yeah,
Wizard.
yeah.
Wizard hadn't caught wind of this yet, but they will, and it's gonna bite somebody in the butt down the road. Just call ahead. Yeah,
I never got into Wizard until years later.
It wasn't quite as ubiquitous yet. This was where Wizard was about to become much, much bigger. But yeah, it was... And I don't believe... Because there was no indication until shortly before it. But yeah, you didn't have the internet where everything gets leaked ahead of time. You had the guy, like you said, the guy at the shop who's in the know.
Now everything gets leaked.
Yeah.
Ahead of time. I mean, if it's a big story, if somebody's dying, the news will break it.
It'll, and I putting air quotes here, accidentally leak.
Yeah. Yeah, accidentally leak, right. So yeah.
And so I'm really enjoying this walkthrough. It's starting to pick back up for me, and we're
into the prelude. I can't wait to the next issue.
Oh, next issue kind of picks up something we sat down a while back. I'm just going to put that hint out there.
Okay. I believe I know what issue that is. But yeah, should be a lot of fun. So, okay. We're going to go ahead and we're going to head to what we learned.
To the Batmobile. Let's go. Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed. You're ready to move up.
So, David, what did you learn in this episode?
I learned that I'm very thankful the Stump the Co-Host segment didn't survive when I came aboard, because I would have ended up who knows where by now.
Oh, interesting. Well, it can come back if that's what you're saying. Is that
no?
Is that what you're?
No. I'm glad that the prizes are no longer on the table.
It would have been very stumped the co-host, overly stumped the co-host. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I still think that there were some rigged situations with Sean. I'm Team Sean on that one, but
what?
No.
Okay. Well. I can't believe I'm hearing this.
You gonna take that to the committee?
He claimed that he was like 4 million to 1. That's what he claimed. He always said, yeah, it's 500 million to 1. So yeah, there's that. So
What did you learn this time around?
I learned that if you ever throw me in a pit for 10 years, when you open the door after 10 years, there won't be anybody left. The rats would have ate me or something.
I'd be amazed to make it 10 minutes.
Yeah, definitely not overnight. I mean, what the heck? You know, you're swimming in rat,
Yeah.
poo or whatever you want to call it. I mean, geez Louise. So, okay. Good episode. We got more Robin Year 1 coming, and Cry for Blood is well on its way. And then we jump into another chapter of Knightfall. That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So before we get out of here, do you have any final thoughts or wisdom?
Yeah, I think sometimes we look at the world with certain perspectives that we come preloaded with. So if we looked at the world in the way Dick Grayson does, we might be happier people.
That is true. That's very true. Maybe smile a little more, laugh a little more, wear your pixie shorts a little more. So yeah. Very good. Very good. So until next time, same bat time, same bat channel. We will see you later.